By the way, my mic's okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ice Cold Takes podcast. I'm your host, Joey DeMeglio, and after rattling off three consecutive victories, the New York Rangers have dropped three in a row heading into tonight's matchup against the Red Wings. Here with me for this week's episode is Jacob Berkowitz from the New York Paingers Podcast. Jacob, how are you, buddy?
We could be doing a bit better. Rangers have not made our lives exactly stressful free, but yeah, no. Listen, it's only like 13 games in, so no need to panic yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think fans should realize. I remember being a young fan watching the 2013-14 Rangers and freaking out when they lost like three of their first four games or whatever it was that season, and just feeling like the sky is falling. It's we're only just a little over a month into the season. I there's obviously some things you could worry about, but we're not even halfway. We're not even close to halfway through the season. I think things have a better chance of figuring themselves out than to, like, if you just keep focusing on the issues. Like, I don't think some of the things we've been seeing are going to be issues by the time it's April, May. At least
Right.
I don't think, if the Rangers are going to be a good team, which everybody projects them to be, I don't think they're going to be issues.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, yeah, personally, like I've said multiple times before, somewhere else that it's 13 games in. It's no need to panic yet. Obviously, there are some stuff that are going on. The Rangers are not, playing to how we all thought they were going to. But yeah, like a lot of people want to just panic. But like, remember last year? I mean, it was different problems, but it was kind of the same scenario where like we're not doing that great. Except the only difference between now and then is we were getting the wins where we didn't deserve it,
Mm-hmm.
and this season we're actually getting the losses when we actually deserve to win. Although that's rare because there are a lot of times we just, look at the Islanders game. The Rangers just decided to fall asleep in the third period.
I think the Rangers. All right, I'm gonna push back on that. Went back and watched the game, and to me, the Rangers are still getting scoring chances in that third period against the Islanders. I'll give credit to the Islanders for coming back. Like, they were known to be a really good third, pretty good, yeah, really good third period team. They've outscored their opponents, like, I think it was like 20. After that game, it was like 25-10.
Oh yeah, it was
They have
ridiculous.
the most third period goals in the league, and they had just come off a 2-goal comeback against the Flames. So it wasn't like the Rangers just stopped playing. I think they stopped playing for the first 14 seconds of that period. That goal should
Right.
definitely not have happened. Like, Trouba should have been the first to get there. I don't know how Miller wasn't over there because that's his side. And then the Hedl takes a pretty bad penalty, an unfortunate penalty, and the Islanders score on that. It was just two or three moments that really just got the Islanders in that game that got them the win. Of course, you have the non-call on the trip, but
Right.
we've seen bad calls not go, like, affect the Rangers, and you have to play through that. Like, you can't just be like, oh, like, cry or whatever that it wasn't called. Like, you have to play through that. And on that play, there was a really bad turnover. Like, Trouba coughed up the puck, and immediately Lee gets the puck right in front of the net off a rebound, and he scores the game-winning goal. So you can't make a mistake like that, even if the penalty should have been called, and it wasn't.
So I mean, I kind of my thinking is at that point is I was really mad at the refs as anyone else. I tweeted said I'm
Yeah.
as mad as the refs as anyone else here. But the Rangers kind of lost themselves. Like they kind of screwed up. They let a 2-goal lead slide. It's kind of on them. Sure, the game winning goal, the ref screwed up. And I thought he actually put his hand up. He like did it midway, if you saw.
Oh, yeah, the referee. Yeah,
Like
like, he made a motion or something like that.
right.
He definitely did something for sure. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was a penalty. Oh, he did a motion and then he just stopped. And I mean, listen, I've seen bad roughing. I don't think I've ever seen that where the ref like attempts to motion and then takes it back. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So like, yeah, no. Anyway, but like the Rangers lost themselves. Like they did it they screwed themselves over. They really messed up. They had sloppy defensive plays, which have been kind of what they've been doing the past couple of weeks or the whole season. And yeah, so as mad as I was about the refs, I still, this was on the team.
Yeah, and I think you could say it's more on like, okay, go back to the Red Wings game. That one they fell asleep in the second period. This game, I thought they outplayed the Islanders. I really thought they outplayed them. Like maybe the first two shifts of the game, the first period were great. I thought with those new line combinations, and I'd like to see those combinations tried out again. It's just like I don't know if they did get chances. They didn't completely turtle like they did last year. But yeah, they deserve to win the game against the Islanders, but they didn't. They should have won that one too, but they didn't. And that's what stings as a fan is that, the games that you should win or that you deserve to win, those are the ones that you lose. Those are the ones that hurt the most. So that 2-goal lead that we had against the Red Wings of all teams, you can't lose to the Red Wings. Come on, man. Like that's you got to win those ones. You have to, especially early on in the season. That's 2 points. Like let's say you're close at the end of the season, like you're gonna like beg for those points back. I mean, you got one, but that extra point, if it's close, hopefully it's not close. And hopefully the Rangers, blow the blow the doors off in our first place in the division. I don't know if that's going to happen, but you know you got to make every point matter, even though it's early in the season. I know we said it's early in the season, but uh, no, I think things will fix themselves. But it's frustrating as a fan. I understand that, and if you're feeling stressed as a fan, a losing streak might be having you stressed. So visit Canadips.com for all of your top of the line CBD needs. Products are 100% tobacco and nicotine free, featuring all natural hemp derived CBD pouches. Best of all, if you use promo code OCSN in all caps, you'll get 20% off all products. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit candidates.com today. All right, we're done with the ads. All right, we're
All
done
right.
into the middle where I break off here
Got
with
it.
my automated ads. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of like Gallant changing up the lines?
So, so when he changed up the lines, right, for the Islanders game, um, I was like, you know what, let's try it out. What was I exactly like? Did I want them to do those specific lines? No, but I'm like, you know
Okay.
what, I don't care at this point. As long as they're trying stuff, go for it. I can't say it's not going to work because we've never seen these line combos ever in existence. Sure, there are some. It's obvious more times than others that it won't work, but those lines, I mean, I thought, hey, it could work. And to your point, they did play well versus the Islanders. And one of the things I noticed in the Islanders game is the Rangers were doing something that they have not done a lot of in the whole season is create chances in between the red dots in the offensive zone. I mean, they were swarming like bees to honey there. They
Mm-hmm.
they they got dirty. They got those quality chances, and they didn't do that the past couple of games. Like they were just playing the perimeter game, and everyone's saying they have so many shots
Yeah,
on net.
they have to get to the front. That's what Dave Maloney was saying on the radio. But yeah,
Right.
continue. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, they were, yeah, since they're playing the perimeter game, everyone's saying, look, they're getting so many shots, they should be scoring. Hello, I mean, it is kind of actually the opposite perspective of what we had last year. Like the Rangers last year, right, were keeping it all to the outside, and everyone was saying, well, the Rangers have like 40 shots against. Well, yeah, but the Rangers thinking was hey, like I don't care how many shots you shoot from the blue line, you're not stopping. It's just Shesterkin's not letting that in, so it's not happening. It's the same thing with every other team. Like, I don't care if you have like 20 or like 60 wrist shots from the blue line. None of them is going in. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
once in a while off a lucky bounce, but you got to get into the dirty areas between the red circles. And again, obviously, guys with Kreider, being on and off kind of hurts because that's his specialty. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was very encouraging sign. And then the third period happened. I know different views on that, but yeah, no, I thought that was promising. And while they lost that, even though I was really upset, I'm like, okay, if they just keep that, how they played in between the red circles, if they translate that to the next couple of games and maybe get less sloppy in defensive zone, more consistent, this team could start being, they're on the right track.
I think I like that you bring up that they got to the dirty areas because yeah, I did hear a bit like I said about what Dave Maloney mentioned on the radio. And I value his opinion because he's played the game, he's covered the Rangers for such a long time. He knows what's up. Like I love the east-west passing, but when you do it too much, it's incredibly frustrating. Like Zibanejad had, I think it was on the power play, he had a wide open shot. It was clear as day you needed to take that shot, and for whatever reason, he passed it through like 4 or 5 sticks over to, I don't even know. I think it might have been Trocheck who was towards the front of the net, or Kreider, and it got like deflected, and there was no chance, no shot on goal. And Sam and Joe had called that out, like, you know, ooh, Zibanejad passing up a shot there. I don't know what he's thinking there. Like, obviously, you need to take that shot. But getting to the north south aspect of the game, I think that fits in for certain players on this team, namely Kreider, for sure, because he skates in straight lines when he's at his best. So I think like him and Zibanejad need to be split up. And I liked how he played. I liked how Kreider played a lot more than how he played against Detroit. When he played against the Islanders, uh, he just looked like he had a better game. Like he was fishing the puck out. Like that first goal was perfect. Like Hedo was parked right in the slot. Kreider gets the puck out to the defenseman, and eventually Miller gets. I don't know if Kreider got an assist on that. I don't think he did, but Miller got a point on that. A nice feed to Hedo, who's looking really good. Kid just needs to get more ice time, in my opinion. But I think if you make a combination with like Kreider and Gauthier, or Kreider and Goudreau, or Kreider and Trocheck, that fits the skill set better. Like Panarin, Zibanejad, I think those guys are compatible with each other. Like a Panarin, Zibanejad, Kakko, like we saw in that game against the Islanders. I like that. Or Panarin, Zibanejad, Kravtsov. I like that. I think that's good. And then you could I don't know if you read Vince Mercogliano's article. Like he was suggesting the line combos, and he suggested bringing the kid line back. I think that's a good idea because the bottom six is a big issue, and you need to spread the wealth. You remember the 2013-14 Rangers? They had guys that I talked about this last week. They had guys any given moment they could go out there and get you a goal when you need it, and they all got equal amounts of ice time. Like all even strength were like 12 to 14 minutes of ice time a game. The top 9, all 12 to 14 minutes per game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said in 2014, I mean, that's how we were able to beat Pittsburgh. That was the Pittsburgh Penguins' Achilles heel, is that I think our fourth line scored in game 7, no? That was Brian Boyle's goal.
That was Boyle.
That was Boyle. Like, Pittsburgh's like, yeah, we got Malkin and Crosby. We're like, okay, that's great. So that's 2 guaranteed goals for you. But hey, we got 4 lines that could score. So, and you have no depth. So, and we have, one of the best goalies of all time in net. It's not. So again, that's how we beat Pittsburgh. And as you mentioned, to the kid line. So obviously we were all conflicted when he split them up, if you remember in the beginning of the season, because the problem was the top 2 lines were just a bit inconsistent. I'm very hesitant. Trust me, I love the kid line as much as the next guy, but I'm hesitant because I'm worried about those top 2 lines, about how inconsistent they're going to be. As you mentioned with Kreider and Zibanejad, they should be split up. I'm happy you're also mentioning this because I was going to mention it. I'm like, for sure, I'm going to get a lot of pushback by this. So I'm happy you're also saying it.
Kreider, Zibanejad, the bromance is. I love the chemistry the guys have together, but like, I just think for the betterment of the team, it's better to split those guys up. Right. I think, especially early in the season when we don't know exactly if it'll work or not. Like, why not try it out for a couple games? Why not just stick it? If the Rangers start producing or whatever, like if the shooting percentage ticks up, because I know they've been getting unlucky. If you look at the analytics, it's definitely they're getting their chances, man. Like they're getting 35, 40 shots a game, and it's been like that for the first 13 games of the year. It's just their shooting percentage and even strength is not good at all.
So, like, I was speaking to Rob Luca earlier today because I wanted to go over, like, I personally think the Zibanejad Kreider combo on 5v5, I'm not talking about power play because on power play, they're just monsters. But 5v5, they are overrated. The only part they aren't overrated is when they're on the rush. And the analytics speak to that they are very, very, very good on the rush. I mean, all the highlight reel goals you see with Zibanejad and Kreider. How many of those are on the rush? So yeah, I thought, but however, in the offensive zone, now I didn't see the analytics for this. It could be because I didn't have time today, but it could be they had good analytics there in the offensive zone pressure. But just eyesight wise, I personally, I didn't think they were really good in that. And as a line, you got to have a little bit of good. Obviously, you got to have a strength and a weakness in a line, and some are going to be better than others in the offensive zone. Some are going to be better than others on the rush. You still got to have a bit of both. And with Kreider and Zibanejad, I don't think they have enough when it comes into the offensive zone. And I really think they should be split up. Again, on the power play, they're monsters, but 5v5, like you said, there's a bromance there, but you got to win hockey games. And if this is the way to win hockey games, so be it.
I also think that the time on ice is just so like one-sided. It's so top heavy. Like if you look at the time on ice, probably because power play one stays out there forever, but Panarin, Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Kreider are all averaging basically 20 minutes a game. Hedl is only averaging 12 and a half minutes per game, and the fourth line is ineffective and used sparingly. Like Reeves and Carpenter have average around 8.5 minutes a game. 8.5 minutes, man. Like that's nothing. Like the Rangers' fourth line was averaging like 10, 11 minutes at even strength in 2013-14. Every single line was used. Like that's what you need. You need to, like the rugby analogy, you need to be able to hand the ball off to your teammates and keep the momentum going. You have to keep it going. Don't drop the ball. Like you go from, oh my gosh, this great combination of Zibanejad and Kreider to this great combination of Panarin and Trocheck, and then it's just Hedl and Jimmy Vesey. Like, and then it's just Brian Carpenter and this guy that should be in the AHL. Like that's it.
Right.
Like you need to be able to go from like, okay, this guy's good. This guy is also good. All right, these guys are pretty good. And then like, oh yeah, these guys are pretty fast. Like you need to be able to cycle through all your lines. And that's what Colorado does. Like, you know, every single one of their guys is in on the forecheck. They all able to create offense in a different way. Like, you know, Panarin and Zibanejad could probably cycle it like for till the end of time. Kreider could skate in straight lines up and down the ice forever. You know, you got to mix and match the play styles. Not every line's going to be able to cycle effectively unless Adam Fox is out there for sure.
Right.
But that kind of stuff, like using the lines to play to the player's strengths is very important. I think Gallant has been doing that. I don't know. I don't agree with putting Kreider, Zibanejad, and Vesey together. I think you should go with Vince's combinations with whatever he said. Again, like I don't know if you read it, but those were good combinations. Like I'm thinking right now, like Panarin, Zibanejad, Kakko. I know you don't. I know you want to split the kids up, but like in this case, we could do Hedl, Kravtsov, and then Kreider, Trocheck, Gauthier, Vesey, Goudreau, Blais. I think that's fair.
So with the kid line is the only thing. Listen, I love them and I want them on the ice every single game. But it's just again, you have a problem with the other two lines, which is better one incredible line and then two okay lines, or three good lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so obviously I would go with the three good lines because, like you said, in 2014, that was that's how we won. Well, not win it all, unfortunately, but that's how we got to a certain point. And yeah, like listen, we don't have guys like Brian Boyle or Dominic Moore anymore on the fourth line. We have VC and Carpenter. And,
yeah, we're definitely not as fast as that team either. That's a big thing. I think VC's a good player. I really like. I think he'd be a great fourth liner. Like that's a good fourth liner that's the one good fourth liner that we actually have on this team. Like I'm not impressed by Carpenter or Blais, honestly. Like I hate to say that I'm not impressed by Blais because I want him to do well. For certain reasons that I won't just say it because it's mentioned too often, but I think the line changes that Gallant's made are warranted, and there needs to be more balance throughout the lineup. So if you could do that combination that I said, or maybe do Panarin, Zibanejad, Kravtsov, kid line, Kreider, Trocheck, Gauthier, Vesey, Goudreau, Blais, or even get Gustav Riedel up into the mix. I don't know how he would do, or Trevino. I don't know if he's NHL ready, but something like that where Carpenter and Reeves are not out there. I love Reeves, the person, but the player is just he's wearing out. He's not what he used to be.
Yeah, you pay him to be in the locker room, not on the ice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the ice cold take of the day. Good job.
Yeah. So my lines that I've been posting were Laf, Zibanejad, Kakko on your top line. Then you got Panarin, Trocheck, Kravtsov, and then as a third line, you got Kreider, Hedl, Gauthier. Now that's a pretty fast and pretty skilled third line. Now, obviously, everyone's saying Kreider's on a third guy, it's not, you don't put always your best players on the top line. I know that's a crazy thing to say for a lot of people, but it's always based off skill, and it's meaning one guy has to play make, one guy has to snipe. If there's three snipers on the same line, right? Who's playmaking? Who's forechecking?
Yeah, who's getting those guys the puck?
Right.
Like, you can't all be cherry picking.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, these combinations work because Laffy's a playmaker. Savannah Jones is, his best quality is a sniper. Kako's the forechecker. It's a perfect fit. And then you got Panarin, Trocheck with Kravtsov. So you got to hope Kravtsov, takes that next step. You saw Vince's videos today. He was actually hitting those one-timers in the net.
I have to go back and watch that one. I do remember that, like, towards the start of the season, he was mishitting those for sure. He definitely wasn't getting all of them. Like I said, like, Kravtsov needs a little bit more time to get adjusted. Like, the kid hasn't had a good go of it. Like, he's in and out of the lineup because of injuries. Like, he's got to get his feet on the ground, and it's got to give the kid time. Like, I'm not ready to give up on him.
Oh, 100%.
Like, if you put him with Panarin, I think he will enjoy that. And I think Panarin will do his best to make him as good of a player as he can be, as the best player that he can be. Not just because Panarin is, like, one of the best hockey players, but because Panarin, I think, understands the situation that Kravtsov has been in.
Right. It's interesting, though, for Panarin to take their mentorship role. We have not seen that. Not anything against him. It's just that the opportunity has never prevented himself, that he could relate to the younger guy, Kravtsov, also being Russian, coming over, not knowing anyone. Panarin taking him under his wing is very, very nice to see. And so, like, those three lines, you have good depth, you have skills that fit each other. You have three lines that can roll. And again, I'm one guy. I'm not the coach, but I'm just putting my point out there. I really do think they should try these. Just give me it for one game, man. That's all I want to see. Because the next couple of months, if we don't get it together, it's gonna haunt me in my dreams every single time that we're not using these. It actually is interesting because I think Gallant started Vince's lines, right? And he did it, yeah. So yeah.
And he reacted. He's like, "Oh yeah, I like those lines, Vince. Good job," or whatever.
That's great.
And it's like to me, I'm reading that, and I'm like, so you're gonna go with those lines, right, Coach? Right, Coach? You're gonna go with those? And then it's like, in practice, Kreider's a Zibanejad VZ. I'm like, damn, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
I hate that, man. Zibanejad, like I said, Zibanejad and Kreider are good on the rush, but in the offensive zone, they're not, terrific. One thing to note, though, Rob Luker mentioned, is that when Zibanejad is without Kreider, I believe there's much more shots against. Obviously, Kreider's, more defensively. I believe, I'm sorry if I'm misquoting him here, but I just spoke to him yesterday. That when Mika's away from Kreider, the shots chances against Mika go up pretty heavily. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So that I found interesting, but again, you could always switch it up to other players who are good defensively. Underrated, though. Kako, you've noticed where he makes those fantastic defensive plays. I know I'm going like sidetracking here, but I mean,
man, he does it in all zones. Like, I notice it more so. I actually notice it more in the offensive zone this year than like last year or the year before. Like, he had a really, like, impressive takeaway in the third period. It didn't amount to anything, but, like, he looks so good. Like,
but against the Islanders, right?
Yeah, against the Islanders.
He saved the goal there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did in the defensive zone, and then, like, in the offensive zone too. In the third period, he had a pretty good takeaway. Like, I wasn't even expecting anything to happen, but he just made this really, really nice play. I don't know. I think he's looking really good. You put Zibanejad and Kakko together, I think it's gonna work out. Panarin, I think, is an okay, mostly reliable, maybe a defensive forward, but, like, I don't know if you noticed, but on the game-winning goal, right off the face-off, Panarin goes up the left boards, and, like, the puck goes around to the right, and all four Rangers are on the right side, and you cannot see Panarin in the frame at all. So, like, when Trouba turns the puck over, he hasn't have, like, a left winger option open. Like, at least you don't see him on camera. Like, I was trying to look in the glass, like, how, like, it reflects in the glass.
Right.
I was trying to look for Panarin that way. I still couldn't find him. You know, when I saw him, like when after Lee scored, when they celebrated, they had the camera angle of like the left boards, and you would see like just his skates come back. Like I don't know what Panarin was doing on that play, but it was really concerning to me. I don't know what the deal was there.
That's yeah.
Obviously, I think the penalty should have been called, but the Rangers had to get that puck out, and they didn't do it.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with Trouba. I think he's playing hurt. But
Well, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just one second. To that thing of True being injured, I don't get it. I really don't. It's November, and you don't have the excuse saying, well, we need him because we're not doing great anyway. So the longer he's on the ice, it's probably going to take longer for him to heal. Again, it's November. So what are you doing?
I think that might be him putting the weight. I think that might be Trouba putting the weight of the world on his shoulders. Like I feel like that's the kind of guy he is. Like he doesn't miss games really too often. I mean, he's been injured a couple times for the Rangers, but like I feel like he's been a mostly healthy player throughout his career. I'm gonna check the stats now, but I got
I
to
think
fact
he's
check
been
myself.
mostly healthy. But yeah, like though I know we all had our, we all criticize Trubo every single season, but it's worse than normal. It again, there are some, people believe he is a defensive defenseman. That's not true. It's just because he hits a lot, people believe it.
Yeah.
It's not true. If you look at the analytics and everything, he's mainly good at being offensive. And as crazy as this is, analytics show that he helps, keep the offensive pressure. Now, I know people are going to say, well, that's just because he shoots 50 shots a game and doesn't hit the net once. No, it actually doesn't account for that. It only accounts for when he will, or the at least the analytics that I was seeing, is that just basically keeping it in the zone. And he's actually very good at that. So to put him with someone who's not a defensive defenseman, now this is not insult to Miller. He's a stud in the making, or already is one. And I think they should swap Miller and Lindgren. You got Lindgren, who's a defensive defenseman, to help Trouba with his flaws. You got Miller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with Fox, and obviously we all have wanted this for so long. And again, also, I guess that third pairing it's a problem because both Schneider and Jones, I mean, Schneider seems to be having a sophomore slump, and Jones has not exactly been great. And your seventh defenseman is Hayek. So not great there. And I'm sorry to sidetrack again, but it seems the only solution to this, right, is to eventually get a depth defenseman. Now, I don't care about Ben Harper. I really couldn't care less. That guy's he's not touching the top six. No, thank you. The problem is the trade deadline, the cap space. We don't have a lot. I mean, we have to, if we don't get one injury for the rest until the trade deadline, I believe, I could be wrong, we're projected to have maybe a little on the shade under 4 million. I could be wrong there.
It's got to be 22 men on the roster. Can't be 23.
Right.
You have to have 22 men for as long as possible to get as much cap space necessary.
Right.
And someone commented on here, Wade from Old City Sports Network. Shout out to OCS. Love you guys. But I don't think we need to go for Patrick Kane now.
I don't even think it's realistic. Because
not realistic.
With what cap space?
It never was realistic because of the cap space.
Well, here's a simulation for you. Here's a simulation for you. Rangers call up Chicago. Hey, we're interested in Patrick Kane. Can we make this happen? Chicago, sure. We're going to need one a lot for Kako. Okay, hangs up the phone, blocks Chicago. That's the end. I mean, what realistic trade are we talking about where we're actually going to get Kane? And even if you do obstacles around the cap hit, which not to mention, Chicago would have to retain 50%, and then you'd have to find a third partner. Now, theoretically, this is able to happen, but we've never seen it a lot in the NHL. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, 50% is not retained, but a third team would have to be 50% retained is not enough. Sorry.
Right. It'd have to be retained another 25%.
Yeah, you'd have to trade him to, I'd say, Arizona. I've said this scenario a few times on my show. The only way it will happen is if the Rangers are the only buyer, meaning that Kane will only play for the Rangers.
Right, exactly.
I don't think in which case you would be sending Arizona more than the Blackhawks because like
Right.
you could just lowball them and they'll have to
Right.
accept
Exactly.
unless they want to just lose him for nothing.
Right. I mean, the thing is I have been saying that Patrick Kane will go to Colorado, but with Jonathan Taze's kind of resurgence of a year, I actually feel like he would be the better fit in Colorado now, ever since they lost Kadri. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. So the question is, where would Patrick Kane go? Now remember, he has a no trade clause, so he is, he has the decision where he wants to go. Obviously, there have been rumors of Edmonton, and that. I just listen. There is a version of this where Kane says to Chicago, "I only want to go to New York," and New York knows this, and it basically ties Chicago's hands together because they have nothing to do. Now, there are
Exactly.
so many things, though, that have to go right. One, you got to have the cap work. Two, you got to make sure Chicago's not stubborn regarding, they got to let go. Also, thing is, would you even trade Othman? I wouldn't.
No.
So
I
who do
would
you
like I
trade?
said, if you're the only buyer, I'm gonna lowball the offer and just be like, all right, if you just want to get rid of him just to get rid of him because you're gonna lose him at the end of the year, he's not gonna want to come back. I'm gonna give you Carl Henriksen in a 7th round pick.
I mean, it would probably be.
I'm not even gonna. If you even mention Othman, I'm gonna laugh in your face. Honestly, if you mention Othman, I'm laughing in your face and I'm hanging up.
Right. I mean, it's crazy because even if there were other buyers, if I'm the Rangers, I'm not doing it. You're talking about a young player who's on an ELC, so that's gold right now for the Rangers for the next 3 years, starting next year.
Yep.
And yeah, he has top 6, top 9 potential. So no, I'm not trading that. I mean, we're Rangers fans. Have we not learned from our mistakes of getting the big fish? I mean, look at Keith Yandel, Martin St. Louis, Eric Salt. Now, like, I know those guys, it doesn't hurt to get them, but I looked at history. You look at the teams that just made those subtle moves, like Chicago, Washington. I don't remember if it was Jensen or Kempe. Like they got the players they needed, not the players just because they're better.
Yeah, yeah. Like Lehkonen last year, that was such a
Exactly.
great pickup for Colorado. What a
Exactly.
great pickup. Yeah. Like don't do like the Reeves for a 1st round pick. That's such a like an extreme example, but like you don't need to give up a 1st round pick. Like I want to give a 1st round pick up in this year's draft for someone that's like completely over the hill. I would do it for Kane, but not for I don't know. I don't even know who's out there really, but like certain
What do you
players I
mean?
wouldn't
Just
give.
like other players?
Yeah, like a 1st round pick for like Kubalik, I wouldn't do. Not
No,
even he's not
no,
even over the hill.
no. I mean, I'm trying to think here because I looked a lot. I look not every day, but once in a while, like at the cap rental, like, okay, am I missing someone? I don't think there's a lot of players this year. Like, Fitz, he talks about those 16 game players.
Yeah. I know
The
exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
Draymond.
so we were talking with him last trade deadline right before, and you know who we said exactly who's going to be the 16 game player to lead their team to a cup? It was Lehtonen.
Lehkonen.
We had
Yeah.
him all there. We were saying, get Lehtonen. He's perfect. Now, I'm not saying the Rangers wouldn't want a cup without him, but want a cup with him. But I mean, he fit that thing. Now, we had Mott, we had Vetrano, we had Cop. I mean, those were great fights. Like, see, exactly it. They didn't get the big fish. They just got a few pieces that they needed. Not essentially that was the best. So I would maybe think the Rangers should do that again. Now, the thing is like, we don't even know what we need, right? Until we get these line combos fixed. Like, what happens if
Oh,
we need
I
a
know
right
what
wing?
I know exactly. Well, right now they could make an adjustment, a slight adjustment. They could go after a 6th or 7th defenseman. Like right now, they
Oh,
could.
no. I mean, like, offensively. Like, you don't know
Oh,
which position you need yet.
yeah. No. Not. It's too early. Like because we
Right,
need to
exactly.
figure out what's going on with Kravtsov. Like Kravtsov is it's too early with him. It's way too early. Like I said,
Right.
I'm not ready to give up on him. And the team's definitely not giving up on him. They invested a high draft spot into him, and they're gonna see how this plays out. This last year, this is it. This is the last year for him. I'd say
Right.
if he doesn't prove himself, then I'd say he's gone.
Well, I mean, speaking back to the cap, so one of the things I don't usually mention the trade deadline a lot. We're in November, and the only reason why I mentioned something in general just came because he was trending on Twitter, and then we obviously the question was just asked here: is this would actually have to happen now. Is one of Blay or Reeves. Now, the reason why I say Blay also is because I don't really believe the Rangers would ever trade Reeves, just because it just doesn't seem like the Rangers thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was in the position, I would consider it, but I have to evaluate it based off what I think how they evaluate it. So I'm like, okay, so it's not Reeves. So who is it? It's Blay. Now, I feel bad because I think people are a little too hard on Blay. Listen, he tore his ACL and was out for a year. And before that, if anyone remembers, he was on the third line with Hedel and Lafreniere, and they were really good. If anyone remembers that,
Yeah, that was
remember that Nashville goal?
Yeah, that was his his Rangers moment. Like,
Right.
they did look really good. That line looked great for sure. But yeah, that's good that you bring that up because it's forgotten. People are hard on him because of again, I'll just say it. Yeah, because of the Buchnevich trade. No, he who shall not
No
be
one,
named.
if anyone evaluates Blay based on Buchnevich, you're going to lose 10 out of 10 times. He is never going to be him. It was a bad trade. Get over it. It's kind of hypocritical of me, but because I'm having a hard time getting over it. But it's so basically with Blay, right? If you trade him, let's say to Arizona, you're looking at maybe an extra 2-3 million at the cap trade deadline, I believe. At least an extra. Blay has a cap hit of 1.525, so that's at least another extra. And then you also have to take in like how the cap adds up every single month. So I think you can make, now my math could be terribly off, but so I think then you'd have 4.5 million, 5 million in the trade deadline.
I would even propose a Blay for Tyler Mott straight up swap right now.
I mean, why in the world would Ottawa do that? Do you know how good he's been playing in Ottawa? Not only has he been the defensive stud, he's scoring now. I mean, man, I went to the floor.
I wish we could get him back.
That guy was a warrior. I was crushed when we couldn't get him. Now, everyone had hope for the longest time. It was cruel that this happened because no one signed him yet. So everyone's like, okay, Drury must be making these acrobatic moves to try to fit him in. Now, I don't remember who was the odd man out that everyone was saying he was going to get traded so Mott could stay. Was it Blay? Was it Reeves? It might have been one of those two.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was, the rumor was someone there wasn't a rumor about an official thing that they're trying to trade him. It was just a theory, right? That's why he's not signed yet anywhere else. So why wouldn't he be unless the Rangers were still interested? And then when he signed in Ottawa, that was just so soul crushing because the guy. I mean, it's crazy how he transformed our PK. Like in the beginning when Mott came over, this concept of going into the offensive zone on the PK and then passing it back to waste time, all the Rangers were looking at him like, looking at him, we're like, you can do that? Since when you can do that?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, you have everyone passing it like that. Yeah. It's like Mott showing that to him, like, yeah, you could actually do this. And the Rangers PK was it was one of the Harlem Globetrotters. Like they were just passing it around in circles just to waste time on the PK. And all the Rangers fans were like, this is allowed. It's kind of like the faceoffs this year. Like, this is allowed. We're allowed to be good at faceoffs.
Right.
Although, yeah, props to Trocheck for that, by the way.
Oh my god, Trocheck has looked really, really good so far for the Rangers. Like,
terrific.
He had a great game against the Islanders. I thought he played well on that road trip. Man, bravo, man. Like, so, people might complain and say like, oh, he's not a significant upgrade enough over Strome. Like, the guy had a hell of a game against the Islanders, man. Like, what did he win? Like 16 or 17 of his faceoffs, and he only lost like 2, 3, maybe 4 faceoffs. He was like skating. He skated so well that game. He had a goal, beautiful backhander. I mean, yeah, that goal probably shouldn't have happened because it was knocked out of Varlamov's glove by his own defender. But still,
when we have ever seen someone shovel the puck upstairs ever,
right?
Like, never. And for me, it was Strome. He didn't bring enough to the ice, like as an individual. Like he never brought a lot to the table. He always seemed to be the product of others. Now I know there was a time like when Panarin was, the Russia stuff.
Yeah, the Russia stuff.
Where Strome came out and he scored like I think 10 points in 11 games or something like that. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying he's not good enough to be a second line player for a Stanley Cup team. And it just doesn't seem he brings a lot to the table as an individual. While Trocheck does. He has faceoffs. He has a better shot. He's just better. I get. Listen, the contract, as in the ABV, is not bad. It's the years. As long as we win a cup the next 3 years, I mean, who's gonna care?
I think they definitely added more years to that to lower the AAV. For sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They had to lower that. They had to do that so they could fit him under the cap. I balked at that. I always thought that was very questionable to have that player for 7 years, a 7-year contract. But so far he's looking really good. And like based on our whatever line combinations we proposed, having somebody on the third line doesn't mean that they're going to get 12 minutes of ice time a game. It shouldn't be that. It should mean that you're going to get, if everybody plays effectively. I don't know how many times I've said this on this damn show, but everybody should be playing effectively. Then everyone is going to get 15, 16 minutes of ice time a game. It's going to balance out. Your best player is your entire team. Your top 9 has to be a top 9, not Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin.
Yeah, no, that just doesn't. No,
it's not good. It'll get you to the playoffs maybe, but you need to just balance it out. You have to right. Start scoring. That's where the teams that are champions, that's how they go far. And you know what? Another thing, I'm gonna talk about this now because every team goes through adversity. Every championship team has their adversity moment. This might be the moment for the Rangers right now. So as a fan, don't take it out on other fans. When you're online, you're upset at a loss. Don't post some ridiculous meme, which I saw. I don't know if you've seen them on
yeah,
Twitter,
no, it was horrendous.
My God, you guys are awful. Some of you don't do that. Don't clog up my feed. Don't clog up other people's feeds with your nonsense.
It's just an automatic unfollow and block at that point. Right. I just see it. I just block, unfollow. That's a goodbye.
It's not even about the unfollow and the block for me. It's just
it's god awful from them. The hell, what are they doing?
What? Don't listen, man. I don't slander players anymore on the show. I used to get really angry and stuff. Being a Mets fan, I like to joke about that. I don't care really anymore. I care about the team, yeah, but it's just doesn't affect my life. I'm not gonna take it out on anybody. I used to hate Del Zotto. I used to want him traded every single day. But don't don't post a ridiculous meme or whatever, a ridiculous comparison. I'm not even gonna say it because it doesn't even deserve to be said. But and don't harass other people on Twitter. People are just trying to watch the games. Come on, I'm just trying to watch the games.
It's hockey. It's hockey. As much as we love it, it's just hockey. Now I know hockey's all I talk about, but there's another aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why this should even be said. It's pretty common sense. Just hockey. When people are saying about craft stuff, I posted a thing earlier this morning, right? You saw it with the Legos. By the way, he's automatically my favorite player because of that. You saw him with the Legos?
Stuff? I didn't see it. I'm gonna look at it right now.
So
go ahead and explain.
Someone on Twitter found a bunch of things of Kravtsov posting of the locker room, of the training facility, and of his just private quarters. And in his private quarters, he was explaining that he was building a giant R2-D2 Lego. Thing. Automatically my favorite player, by the way. So I posted it saying, "Oh, this guy's automatically my favorite player now." It's a joke. And then someone quotes tweets it saying, I never interact with guys like this because my thing is if you can't convince them otherwise or have a constructive conversation with them, why are you even talking with them in the first place? There's no point. It's a lost cause. So this guy posts saying, why is he playing with Legos? Shouldn't he be working the whole time on the ice because he's been playing like arts? I'm like, dude, are you freaking kidding me? I don't. Some people are just, I don't know. Too much is an understatement. It's just ridiculous, dude. These guys have lives. It's hockey, all right. It's so ridiculous, dude. Can the guy not enjoy 5 minutes without someone criticizing him? Yes, I have a podcast myself. I criticize players. I'm not gonna harass them, or I'm not gonna say dumb stuff. Sure, on the ice, I'll criticize them. But what happens off the ice, dude, that's life. His whole life isn't evolved around your enjoyment. That's not how it works.
Right. That's hockey is his career. Right. he's got to. Like just like everybody has the right to pass their own time. Like, don't you think a hockey player should have the
And second
have?
of all,
It's
not
so
even right.
ridiculous.
And second of all, it's not even right because theoretically a player. Now I'm not saying this is right either, but theoretically, no one as a human being, we all need our outlets. We all need our refreshing time. We all have stuff besides our main things in life, right? We all have a variety of things. So like, yeah, it's his job. It's his thing to crowd stuff up, like trying to get better. But dude, it's give the guy a break. He still has a life, Like, what are you doing? You want him to? You want to force him to be on the ice 24/7, like like a Miracle on Ice, where he's basically 24/7. Like, dude, this ain't that type of thing where like you're just doing laps 24/7. Dude, these guys have lives. Like, give them a break.
Right.
It's I don't even know why I have to explain this.
Yeah, these guys have lives, and you, person on the internet criticizing this person, you need to get back to your own life. And it's like,
Right. It's just
I don't like to talk about like the toxicity and stuff like this on my show. I never really do, but like,
it went too far.
come on, man. Like I go on there to promote my show. I'm not there for all those antics. I'm not there for the trolling. I'm not there for that kind of stuff. I mean, I've tried it a couple times, yeah, like just to be funny, but like it's not
like I'll do it with someone who will take it as a joke, right? I won't do it in a menacing way where it'll hurt their feelings. Like Lou, right? There's a meme online, right, where it's like those guys in the glasses in the circles, right? You saw that, and then one of the pitches is Lou, and one of the pitches is Lou, and then I post that once in a while. I know Lou has a laugh at that. Like if I actually thought he'd be insulted by that or upset about that, I never would post it. I do it as a joke. Like he likes the posts. Like if I knew he would dislike it, I would never have posted it.
Right. Yeah. Like don't do stuff that's like that is going to be hurtful to people. Like we're just
it's freaking hockey. Get over it.
We're
like,
just.
Of course, I want to slam my TV when they lose, but like taking on other people. What is wrong with you?
Like, yeah, it's just man. The Mets have taught me so much about that stuff. Like just not being mad at the outcome of a game. Like I don't know. I've learned, especially like this past season. With the Mets, like go winning 100 something games and getting knocked out in the wild card round. Like, there's certain things it's worth being mad over, and there's other things that aren't worth, the time.
Right.
And
it
just
just
like
hurts yourself.
the outcome of the game is not something to take your frustrations out. Don't be like the fan that clocked that Lightning fan at MSG.
Oh,
that's just despicable, man. Like that's something I can't. I had to address it on the show. I'm sorry, guys, but like this is what
I mean. It's like it's a crazy thing that we even have to address it. You know what I'm saying? This should be common sense. You don't clock a fan because your team lost. You don't harass someone on Twitter because your team lost. You don't criticize players for having a life because they lost. Yes, constructive criticism, like you and I do on our podcast, right? Just saying, like we talked about Trouba, right? He's not doing the greatest. Great. Where he's injured, great. We explain, why. We're upset about him, what he should do better, right? But it's constructive criticism. It's not out of the thing to hurt the player or to hurt the person's feelings. And, they're not listening to this, but we're not going out of our way to be selfish and hurt someone else's feelings, right? And then you see people on Twitter, like I always shake my head like at this post that I just had this one. Like I posted a freaking thing about Kraftsov playing with Legos, and a guy just says he shouldn't be doing anything else besides practicing because he should really be ashamed. Dude, shut up. I'm sorry. Shut up. I mean, I don't even rant like this on my podcast. So you got me wound up here. But I don't get it with some people. How can you be that selfish?
Yeah, honestly, I swear, I feel like people are doing. Some people do it like on purpose just to get clicks.
Well, some people get it. So those people, like I don't in general, like that guy, I don't even interact with him. I don't do anything because there's no point. You're not going to get through to him, right? So what are you doing? You're just having a meaningless conversation. Right. You're right. So why even bother? You only do it when you believe you could change that person, or you could change that person's perspective. And then there are some times where, those guys just want attention also. Like there's some people, I'm not going to name one on here because if you remember last year, there was someone who totally blew up. I know that's very in general, but I think you might know who it is.
I don't know. I'm thinking of a few
We
people.
texted about it when it happened.
Oh yeah.
We texted about it when it happened. Now at that point, I was like, I don't know, man. But then I saw what was actually going down. Like when you texted me that, I just got on Twitter, right? And you texted me, I'm like, I don't know, man. Because I didn't see what they actually did. I don't know, man. Because I don't look. And then later that day, I looked. I'm like, oh dang, oh that happened.
Yeah.
Oh great. Oh gosh. This person was like everyone was interacting with them for years, and they just pop out of nowhere with that. And yeah, it's just like those type of people. Like, and then people came forward to say, yeah, this person, don't interact with them because they only do this to get attention. I'm sure people have probably figured out who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
There's a few people that fit that bill, but I mean, like the toxicity of it, it's too much for me, man. Like if you want me to like come
that's
out
why
and
I
make
created my own.
I'm not going to make a public statement like denouncing all this stuff. I mean, even though we just did that for like 15 minutes, it's just,
right.
Like,
I mean, my own Rangers Discord. I wanted to make a community where it was toxic free. Like, no one, thank God, as of right now, has done anything. But I made it crystal clear. Like, even like I may have gone to extreme lengths because the thing is, in the beginning, when there's like 400 people in your Discord, right? You got to be extreme first. You got to make sure they don't even do the littlest of insults. Obviously, eventually, like as a joke, it's okay, right? But even the little things, because you have to like construct your server like to not be toxic. And eventually, as everyone connects, as everyone like knows each other, it's easier. But obviously, I had to go to the extreme first. I in my rules, in everything, every little thing they said I had to do, I had to mention to them, hey, you can't do that. I'm just trying to like. Obviously, with Twitter, maybe going down the post. I can't take this anymore. I didn't think because it was way too obvious. But there was a Connor McDavid yesterday claiming to be traded because he had a blue check mark. And do you know how much hell this trade deadline is going to be? No one's going to know who's who. It's going to be a nightmare. Everyone's like, okay, you could press the blue check mark. I'm not going through every blue check mark to figure out who's real. That's the whole point of the blue check mark.
That's
so
why
you don't have to do the go to the.
That's why I still only have Darren Drager's tweets notifications on my
I set mine up for notifications. That's only the insiders.
Yes, and it's that guy. And the only way that I know, like, it's not another. It's not gonna be. It'll never be another Darren Drager because it's that specific Darren Drager. I know it is because before it was years before.
Who's the one that doesn't have a blue check mark and he's always been impersonated by someone? David starts with a P. He doesn't have a blue check mark for some reason.
Oh, David Pagnotta?
Yes. He always gets impersonated trade deadline, and everyone always falls for it. It is so annoying. Like, I spoke to Hockey Stat Minor in the summer. He's like, dude, he's like, I block those guys immediately. I can't stand it. And the guy's a saint. So if he's saying that, there's a serious problem.
Yeah, shout outs to HSM. That guy's awesome.
I text him once in a while, like, hey, can you help me with this cap? No hesitation, just helps me out. Terrific guy.
Yeah. Great memes, too.
Oh, yeah, terrific.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone, especially him and Drew, are excited about It's Always Sunny Philadelphia. I think it's coming out in December now, the next season.
Honestly, I have not seen that show, and I got to watch it.
You better not tell that to Drew. He would not be happy about that.
Drew is like, oh my gosh, Drew is the man. Like, shout out to Drew. Like, I talk to that guy all the time.
Yeah. Like,
he's
daily.
So busy. Like, I'm sure he's so busy with his life. And, I always reach out, like, asking about, like, oh, can you explain this analytical concept to me? Or, like, can you tell me why Gauthier should be in the lineup and not Reeves or whatever? And, like, he takes the time out of his day to respond to me or whatever. It's so great. I love that guy.
Right. I mean, like, I text him maybe on a daily basis, and I'm like, one of these days, this guy's just going to take his hand through the screen and strangle me.
Right,
and that has not happened yet. And he's always been nice and always explained to me. Like, I just don't, like, based on past podcasts, like, how does this work? Advice here, advice there, analytics, all that. Like, I just asked him today, I'm like, where the heck is everyone getting this stuff from? How to project the trade deadline cap space. Like, I'm trying on Cap Friendly. I usually have someone else do it for me. That's why I've never been used to this. He explained it for me. He's like, yeah, I go on Pakpia, this and this and that. Those guys are terrific. Like, I'm sure, like, you're a host, obviously, and you'd be shocked at the amount of people, like I've been ever since I started my podcast, that how many people are willing to either come on the pod or willing just to help out. It's a lot more surprising amount of people than I ever thought. Like there was some people, yeah, I'm not going to mention names because I'm going to leave a few names out and then I'm going to feel like, a jerk. That's why I never post those tweets anymore. I learned my lesson. I never post those tweets anymore. Thank you for this and this and this, that guy. I never do it anymore because I always forget someone and I always feel like a jerk after and I always feel bad. So I just say, I just in general, see, you know who you are. Thank you so much. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Because it's I know we kind of went back from hockey, but I just wanted to mention one thing. Zibanejad doesn't have a 5v5 goal yet. No, I know this is so weird.
God.
This
is great. I love it. No. I love it, man. This is good. This is good stuff. Yeah. No, honestly, I forgot to write that down, but it was something that I was thinking about. I think Larry Brooks mentioned that that he had not had a 5v5 goal this year, which means doesn't that mean his 5v5 is even strength shooting percentage, whatever his shooting percentage is when it's not a power play, is 0%. Actually, no, that's a lie. He has a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, and that's why everyone was tripping because I posted out. Does everyone realize Zibanejad does not have a 5v5 goal? Half the guys are like, "You goof! He only has 5 power play goals. He has 6 goals." I'm like, "No, it's a shorthanded goal." Like a lot of people forgot that.
Yep, that was the first one.
Right. So why aren't you changing the lines? Like I don't know. I love the lines I have. When Gallant changed the lines originally, I didn't want to criticize. I'm just happy something happened, right? And let's go with it. He was
about like maybe 4 or 5 inches off from getting his first one against the Islanders in the first minute of the game. He hit it was a great centering west to east pass by Panarin, his Zibanejad, and he rifled it off the crossbar.
Well, speaking of bad luck, Capo Caco has Rick Nash syndrome.
Oh God.
We all know Rick Nash. He maybe hit 50 posts per season. Capo Caco's got to break that. I don't even think it's a question. He has Rick Nash syndrome, and I thought he broke it when he finally got that goal. But then he had that versus the Islanders, and can the guy get a bit of luck? I mean, what voodoo type of stuff does he have to do to get that bad luck off his back?
I think it means it's gonna make him a better player. I think once the floodgates open, they won't stop. Like once it comes out, it's
crazy though how long it stayed. Not to Capo Caco's he's playing terrific. He's definitely transformed into a greater player than he ever was. It's just there are so many times where it's this is a goal. There was times versus the Flyers game, he could have probably had a goal and 3 assists. That's not even over, what's called, because he passed it in front to Lindgren for a tip, perfect tip. Lindgren missed. He passed it to Kreider for a tip. Kreider missed. He passed it, I believe, to Zibanejad or Panarin. They missed. And he had a shot, and I think he was a ridiculous save where he hit the post. I'm like, can the guy get a break? He could have potentially had a goal and 3 assists, and it is so frustrating. I don't know. I mean, we're hoping he finally breaks out and all that. It's just he's doing all the right things, right? So I don't know how that guy sleeps at night. I really don't, because if I were him, I'd be trying magic stuff, bro. I would be doing blood magic to try to get rid of that luck.
Yeah. Man, he's got to iron out the voodoo.
Yeah,
got to do something to reverse the voodoo.
Maybe it's the price to pay for someone on Twitter literally serving the devil for the playoffs.
Yeah,
it was.
All right, well, Ice Cold Take fans, my loyal listeners, whoever you guys know who you are. Like Jacob said, I'm not gonna name every single person out because then now I know I'm gonna forget somebody. I'm gonna feel like an idiot.
Yeah, never do that.
For sure. Good. You guys are awesome. Jacob, you're awesome. Go listen to New York Paingers Podcast. When's your next episode?
We are actually doing it earlier than usual. I believe it's going to be I think it's going to be Sunday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Sunday afternoon. All right. When that drops, go check it out. That's awesome. This episode will drop on Saturday. So after you're done checking me out, go check him out. Go check out Jacob and Shroggy. Those guys are great.
We actually added a third co-host now.
Oh, really? Who's the co-host?
Luca. So he was on and off with us last year. He had a crazy schedule, and we all 3 of us have crazy schedules. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Those 2 have lives. I don't. So
Yeah.
I try to, see, okay, this guy's got that schedule. That guy can't do in the morning, and that guy can only do in the morning. So how the heck are we going to do this? So yeah, it's been complicated, but his schedule has cleared up a bit. So he's now officially joined the podcast. And yeah, they got an extra element to the podcast. And yeah, it's good.
Good for Luca. And all right, that does it for us, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. So I'm gonna end this broadcast here.